and it's called the land of the brave. The whole world knows our name. One God and 50 states.
Hello, and welcome to the Woke is Broke podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Stanko, and let's get into it, shall we? So Biden got his infrastructure bill. It's being hailed as some sort of big achievement somehow, right? Right? It's being sold like it's going to fix everything from inflation to cancer. Somehow, right? And I'll be honest, it's just as realistic to expect that this bill is going to actually cure cancer as it is to expect that it's going to cure inflation, right? Spending trillions more dollars that we don't need to spend. We do not need to spend it on bridges, roads, and freaking trolley carts, okay? We don't. But that pumping the economy with even more money is somehow going to fix the problem of inflation just speaks to the ignorance of these people, right? The more you have of something, the less it's worth. If you pump money into the economy and you don't have the supply to meet it, it leads to inflation. Your dollar's worth less, which means that things like, I don't know, maybe cigarettes or coffee costs more because your dollar's worth less. And inflation has surpassed whatever minimal wage increases we've seen during the so-called workers' moment, right? The workers' moment, right? It's awesome right now. You could go out and argue for better wages. That's awesome. It just sucks that everything costs 3 times more than it used to a year and a half ago, but hell, what does that matter as long as you're now making $12 an hour instead of $9? God. But the brown-nosers over at CNN are optimistic, as always. How could we expect them not to be when it comes to anything that comes out of the Biden administration? They had an article titled, "Here's How Long It May Take Biden's Infrastructure Package to Jolt the Economy." Now, I could answer this question for you real easy.
One eternity later.
But of course, over at CNN, they had a totally different take on it. They say, it's going to take a while to really jolt the economy the way that this bill's clearly meant to. But they did have a particularly good spot when you get about 7/8 of the way into the article. It says, over the long run, the improved highways and bridges, as well as the investment in a stronger broadband network, could make workers more efficient and smooth out friction points in the supply chain. I just gotta say this. Anyone who thinks the reason that we are having a supply chain crisis right now is because of a couple of potholes on the highway and some shitty reception areas out in the Carolinas, I just got this to say to you. Put down the bottle and go to AA. For God's sakes. No, the reason we are seeing inflation is because Biden has decided to needlessly spend trillions of dollars. The reason we are seeing supply chain crises is because Biden has done everything to ensure that the working force in charge of managing things like supply chain have been minimized, reduced, cut down, right? Whether it's through a vaccine mandate, whether it's paying people to stay home rather than go out and work. He has done everything to undermine us as a country on the economic level, okay? And we are suffering big time because of that. But don't worry. CNN, they know the answers. CNN says, S&P Global found that a $1 trillion investment in infrastructure would lead to 883,600 new jobs by 2030. Now, I'm not an expert on calendars, but I've occasionally had to read one. It's 2021 right now. You're talking 9 years from now, we're going to have 800,000 new jobs. That's great. What's going on today? What's going on right now? Oh, I don't know. What about the last jobs report that showed 10.4 million job openings in September and 4.4 million people who left the workforce, who quit the workforce in September, right? 4.4 million people who quit the workforce in September. Things are getting worse, not better, worse. right? And let's rewind the clocks back. What was it, just in July? You had Jen Psaki out there saying, well, your 4th of July barbecue actually is cheaper today than it was, a year ago or 2 years ago.
Okay, on another subject, the official White House account tweeted yesterday, the cost of a 4th of July cookout is down 16 cents from last year. 16 cents?
There has been a reduction in some of the costs of key components of the 4th of July barbecue.
So
that was what the tweet was noting.
So does the White House think that 16 cents off a barbecue has more of an impact on people's lives than gas being $1 more this time? This 4th
I would
of July
say if you don't like hot dogs, you may not care of the reduction of costs. You don't have to like hot dogs.
You can't buy a hot dog for 16 cents.
A reduction
That's like
of.
a bite
I
a
will
hot
say
dog.
that what we are most focused on is the fact that we've created now more than 3 million jobs since the president took office. That's what we're focused on, and continuing to implement additional components of his economic Build Back Better agenda. Go ahead.
Bullshit, for starters. And now they're saying the inflation was transitory. And now they're saying it's going to be around till probably Christmas of next year. Meanwhile, they're spending trillions of dollars to create jobs a decade from now and saying that it's going to fix the supply chain bottlenecks by building trains and increasing network of broadband internet. I mean, how? Explain that to me. Explain that to me. How does fixing the highway fix clogs and shipping off the coast of California? How does spending trillions of dollars into an already overheated economy fix inflation, right? And I could ask that about anything, right? How does an open border equal a secure border? How does teaching children that they're victims because of the color of their skin or that they're oppressors because of the color of their skin fix racism, right? How does prosecuting Kyle Rittenhouse for defending himself, meanwhile turning a blind eye to arsonists and rioters, how does that fix our justice system? The answer is it doesn't. You have a group of people, you have a political group of people out there who are just so wildly disconnected from reality, right? $3.5 trillion bills cost nothing, right? Open borders equals secured borders, right? Prosecuting for political reasons equals justice. I mean, it just goes back to the point that I've been making all along since starting this show, is moral insanity, and it absolutely is insanity. I feel like I'm living in a damn TV show half the time that I get in front of this freaking thing. Just the stuff that comes out of the White House, out of CNN, out of everything, every single day. It's so unbelievably aggravating, honest to God. But I tell you, it does warm my heart at least a little bit to start seeing a lot of people, to their credit, picking up the pieces. A lot of people putting in the work. Whether we're talking to parents in Virginia, whether we're talking about Donald Trump himself. I don't know if we can say that on here. Can we say that word? Can we say that name anymore? I don't know. Whether we're talking about Donald Trump himself starting up a social media company, right? Truth Social. That's going to be coming out. I'm looking forward to that. Whether we're talking about private business investors starting a ProLife Bank, right? You guys might not have heard about this. It's actually called ProLife Bank. That's going to be opening up at some point here, right? Because basically, for those of you who don't know, the pitch was that you might not know that a lot of, virtually all major banks in the United States contribute to Planned Parenthood in some capacity or another. So this guy is starting a ProLife Bank with I think it's like 50% of the proceeds going to pro-life causes, not a penny ever going to Planned Parenthood. I think that's a fantastic idea. Honest to God, I can't think of a better way to like gobble up, customers and Christian support and just people in general who are for pro-life causes than starting a bank like that. I think TD Bank, Citizens Bank. I think these banks are going to get hit really hard if ProLife Bank takes off the way that I certainly believe that it will. But it is. I bring up this point because it's easy, like I said, to look at all the shit that's coming out and around us and beating down our door every single day, and to lose hope. And I don't want you to lose hope. I haven't lost hope. The reason I'm still doing this is because I know that there is still hope out there. All right. But it's going to take more than me, more than just you. It's going to take all of us working together and doing our parts. Starting businesses, starting movements, voting, educating ourselves, right? Staying informed. And staying informed is a really important part of it all, if not the most important. And perhaps a little shameless advertising here. We certainly hope that you choose to stay informed with us over here on the Woke is Broke podcast. But in any event, I am Joshua Stanko saying stay safe, stay informed. We'll catch you next time.